laptop mic on.
ना ट्राई करायचं वर निमिषம் सर ओके ओके सर
I mean, headset. एक प्रॉब्लम है शुरू से इसलिए तो फोन में भी कर रहा हूँ अभी नहीं रिकॉर्डिंग ओके
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, most beneficent and merciful, whose bounties are unbounded, whose benevolence is everlasting, whose blessings are uncountable, whose mercy is unlimited. Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone present here. And a warm welcome on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Application. Let us begin our program with prayers. I request Mr. Muhammad Farhan of Third BCSC to recite a few verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Mr. Farhan. Kindness is always fashionable and welcome. Leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. I request Mr. S. Haja Mohideen, HOD of Computer Science and Application, to deliver the welcome address to the audience.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. A warm welcome to every one of you for the webinar entitled Hedge, organized by the Department of Computer Science and Applications. My hearty welcome to all of you. This webinar will help the students to gain more knowledge about edge computing organized by the Department of Computer Science and Applications. I wish it to be a gala success. At the outset, I thank our respected General Secretary Ali Janab Al-Hajj Dr. S. Ziauddin Ahmad Sahib and our Honorable Correspondent Ali Janab Al-Hajj S. Z. Abrar Ahmad Sahib for their guidance and fraternal intimacy. My cordial welcome is to the most distinguished principal of our college, Dr. S.A. Sajid, for permitting us to conduct this webinar. It is a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend a hearty welcome to Dr. A.K. Ibrahim Sharif, Head PG and Research Department of Chemistry and IQAC Coordinator, for his gracious presence. It is a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome the resource person, Dr. T. Nandini, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Application, Hindustan College of Arts and Science, Chennai. On behalf of the institution and my department, I offer my regards to her. I feel great pleasure to welcome the other department heads and professors for gracing our webinar. I also welcome all the outside college professors and students to attend our program. I also welcome our department students to this valuable program. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. The best leaders not only inspire us, but develop and empower us to lead with passion. Now I request our beloved principal, Dr. S.S. Sajid Sahib, to deliver the presidential address.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Most respected head, Department of Computer Science, dear colleagues, the coordinators of this webinar, Dr. T. Nani, dear participants. It will be to join with you on this wonderful day. The Department of Computer Science and Applications of our college has brought up a webinar on edge computing. I wish that this type of program will enlighten all the participants to know more on the topic. And we are grateful to the resource person today that he is going to deliver the important themes on the topic, which will be really interesting and useful for you all. We are all aware that IT is developing like anything. The same way, edge computing, it is a networking philosophy focused on bringing computing as close to the source of data as possible in order to reduce latency and bandwidth use. In simpler terms, edge computing means running fewer processes in the cloud and moving those processes to local places, such as on a user's computer, an IoT device, or an edge server. Bringing computation to the network's edge minimizes the amount of long-distance communication that has to happen between a client and server. So this webinar will definitely be useful to all the participants. I once again thank all the participants for joining with us in this wonderful webinar. Thanks for the opportunity given.
Thank you, sir. A discourse by an intellectual of radiating eminence is a verbal menu of thought-provoking ideas and innovations. Now I request Dr. G. Ramesh Kumar to introduce the guest of the day.
Good morning to all. I feel immense pleasure to introduce our today's special guest, Dr. T. Nandini ma'am, who is presently working at Hindustan College of Arts and Science, Chennai. Her total teaching experience is 15 years. Her qualification is MCA, MPhil, PhD. She has qualified state eligibility test in October 2012. She has done certificate course in computing from IGNO. Also certified software testing professional from STC Technologies, Chennai. Madam has got MPhil guideship from Tirulur University, Vellore. She has guided totally 7 MPhil scholars. She is guiding final year PG students, main projects also. She has arranged several number of seminars, workshops, and soft skill training program for UG and PG students. She has provided guidance to the students for developing their career as well as making them familiar with the different career opportunities. She has acted as external examiner for semester practical examinations to C. Abdul Hakim College and also semester practical theory examinations also. She has acted as convener for NAC preparation committee. She has actively participated in various online FTP conducted by various colleges and also various workshops. She has presented more number of papers in IEEE sponsored international conferences and seminars and also international journals publications. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is hand over to the resource person. Madam,
Thank you, sir.
okay. On பண்ணிக்கோங்க.
Okay, yes. Okay. Good morning to one and all present here. Okay, it is without camera. I'm extremely sorry for that. So I couldn't connect with the camera and it is not letting in due to some connectivity problem. I hope you can understand the difficulty. Thank you. I take this opportunity to thank Abdul Hakim College correspondent, principal, convener Mr. Haja Moideen, IQAC coordinator, webinar coordinators, Dr. G. Ramesh Kumar sir, Mr. Iftikhar Ahmed, for inviting me as a resource person for this webinar today. As we all know, the word computing is often heard now and then around us. The reason for that is computing has become part and parcel of our day-to-day life. In today's world, can we imagine a day without the usage of cell phone? For that matter, any gadgets we use in our daily life? No, we can't imagine a day without these gadgets. Okay, so that today's topic is very well connecting with this computing world, that is edge computing. Edge computing is an emerging technique followed by fog computing, cloud computing, etc. So, can you all view this presentation screen? Just to check whether we can view. You're all viewing this? Say yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Okay. So before starting to the next topic, we should know what are the contents of this webinar today. Evolution of computing, a recall of IoT and cloud computing, introduction to edge computing, and the difference between edge and other models, how it is working, how edge computing works, use cases of edge computing, real life applications, benefits and drawbacks, and then conclusion. These are the contents we are going to see today. So getting into evolution of computing. First, we should know the history of computing. A quick recall. All of you would have studied this in your lower classes. So the first in 1950s and 60s and all, the computer, what we see today is not in those days. It will occupy the whole room. Such a big machine will be there, and the parts will be working with the help of cogs and gears, with the help of wheel and all. Wheel will be there, that is called as gears. So with the help of gears only, the computations were done in 1950s and 60s. Then in 1970s, after a decade passed by, IBM came into existence, which is now also it is prompting the computer field with the hardware and software technologies. So in those days, IBM is famous for hardware technologies, so that the semiconductors was invented. After the invention of the semiconductors, the room size computers was minimized to the desktop computers. Okay, in 1980s, after the invention of hardware technologies in 70s, in 80s, software came into existence, and software increasingly adopted, and the main part done by the software evolution is Microsoft. So Microsoft, without Microsoft, it was in earlier days, without the invention of OS, operating system and all, we were using DOS, disk operating system, which was mainly meant for command line arguments, is it not? Only commands will be used for creation of a file, a folder, anything it may be. All sorts of things were done with the help of commands only. So the Microsoft came into existence in 1980s. Then only the operating system called Windows operating system came into existence. So that was a evolution in software. In 1990s, again, along with the hardware and software technology, personal computers was introduced. So only the minimization of computers to the desktop level it has become, and it was called as personal computers. And also side by side, World Wide Web related terms related with the internet was introduced in the early years of 1990s. Okay, then search engine was needed. There are so many data and informations available in the internet. How to search for those data and the matters present inside the internet means a search engine is needed for that hour. So Yahoo and Google was given into the field of search engines. Now also we are using that Google, a very old Yahoo machine is also, search engine is also used nowadays. Then in 2000s and all, social medium came into existence. Now we are in the world of social media, isn't it? The society is full of gadgets and social things. So, and the Facebooks, Twitter, these are all called as social medias, which was flourished from 2000. So 20 years back, the social media came into existence. So this is a picture showing the evolution of computing. 1960s ENIAC machine was used. You know that electronic numeric integrator and computer, that is that calculator was used. IBM, 1970s, the mainframes. See that machines, how many parts will be there for a mainframe. So again, the machine was reduced into a desktop in 1980s after the invention of OS and Office-related documents, Excel sheets, and PowerPoints were introduced only in those years. Then World Wide Web in 1990s, again in 2000 onwards, social media came into existing, so that the computational thing evoluted to social computing, so that we are in the world of social computing now. Computing levels. So computing levels means, you know that while we talk about evolution will be, say for example, the humankind was evoluted from a monkey. Okay, so a monkey-like animal was turned into a human-like animal nowadays. So that the evolution was like that. So in computer science field also, evolution was in the form of, first one, mechanical, that is hardware related computers was introduced with the help of gears and cogs on those days. So that is an era of mechanical system. Then came into existence software system. Then came into existence human system. Then nowadays we are in the social system. Okay, this is the evolution: mechanical, hardware, software, human, and social. So this is the evolution that we are following nowadays. The main two things you must know in computing levels, that is STS and HCI. Science, technology, and society. How science and technology is combined in society nowadays, or otherwise it is called a socio-technical system. So socially, how the technology is invading into the social matters. So it has become an interdisciplinary field. You know what is interdisciplinary? So interdisciplinary, a broad area in which some areas connected with the broad area will be there. So that is called as interdisciplinary, okay, field that studies the conditions under which the production, distribution of those things will be happening. So science and technology combine together to form a society now. Is it not? Even a small child knows how to use the cell phones, smartphones, how to go into YouTubes. Even a fifth standard children is making YouTube videos. Okay, they are becoming entrepreneurs with the help of YouTube channels. So it has become a part and parcel of day-to-day life. Next is HCI, that is human-computer interaction. It is a multidisciplinary field, is it not? Human-computer interaction. It is the HCI has way back from 1990s when the internet was introduced to the world. Then onwards, HCI came into use. Before that, human and computer interaction was very, very low. Human used the computers only for computational purposes. Only after 1990s, after the invention of the internet, the data transferring from one place to the another place, communication is done within fraction of seconds. All these things came into existence with the help of HCI, that is multidisciplinary study, okay, focusing on design of computational studies. So HCI has become a part and parcel of today's information technology. So the below, in the next slide, we are going to see a figure showing the different levels of the computational studies, what we are going through nowadays. So in the last, we have technology. How technology was introduced in those days in 1950s and all, with the help of these type of gadgets. The gadgets which we use, which were used on those days, was very tiny and it is very separated. You cannot connect one gadget with another gadget. Okay, so that was the technology on those days. It is individual. You cannot connect. You cannot transfer things from one gadget to the next gadget in those days. Then came into existence information technology, in where software and devices both were incorporated, and the software introduction is capable of transferring one data or one form of data from one gadget to another gadget. This is also possible in early 1970s. Then came into existence HCI, human-computer interaction, means person with IT. So person with IT means information technology is being carried out throughout the world. Then now we are in the form of STS, science, technology, and society, or socio-technical system. Community-wise, not only a single person, a community can handle. That is the best example is a child. Even a small child can operate a smartphone without knowing computer science. The child don't know what is computer science, but they can operate the smartphones. So that is why so it is called as social, that is social media and societal computations. So, sir, I hear some noise. Can you mute them? Yes, thank you. So this is a level of the things what we have seen already. So in mechanical engineering, energy was exchanged. How energies or the data or the information is exchanged from the levels of computing. The tabular column is showing how the information is exchanged from one place to the another place. So in the form of mechanical means that is related to hardware. So only energy is transformed. Example is hardware, that is a motherboard, telephone, fax, and all. The technology is just a hardware technology. Information technology is something exchanged is information. So in the form of programs, data, bandwidth, memory. So design is IT, information technology. Next comes HCI. In HCI, semantics, attitudes, beliefs, feelings, and all transferred. Okay. So this is you can you can have an example of artificial intelligence. So in semantics, beliefs, feelings, and all, artificial intelligence coming into existence. The invention of robotics, robots throughout the world. With nowadays, you have seen the film Shivaji, isn't it? Shivaji or something, that Rajini film. You can see how feeling is given to a robot, and how the robot is acting according to the feeling. Okay, that is all based on AI, isn't it? So AI is something related with HCI, human computer interaction. Then comes STS. STS, famous thing way back for the past 10 years, we have been seeing memes, okay? Memes on so many things. What is happening in the real world, what is happening in the political world, all these things. For all these things, we have some memes. So meme is a exchange of information. Through exchange of information, we can achieve some greater things. So that is what happening. When we'll go to the next thing, this is a diagram showing the flower of computing. The flower of computing, first comes hardware, software, people, community. So now we are in this world, community world, where for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, so many gadgets are available, so many social medias are available. So in when you talk about people, people means when the internet came into existence, and when search engines came into existence like Yahoo and Google. So in software, OS means operating system. Microsoft came to existence in 1980s, where MS-DOS was replaced by MS Windows, Microsoft Windows. And in hardware, ENIAC, Intel, these are the companies which is concentrating on the hardware technologies that was built into computers. Now, this diagram is telling something about the importance of computing in all the fields. Okay, not even a single field. Computer science is dealing with computing, but for every subject that we are having as a syllabus in our India and all over the world, computing is coming into existence in each and every form. See, can you imagine biology and health in the form of computing? Nowadays, all the healthcare units are having computer, okay, which is monitoring blood pressure, which is monitoring sugar. You can have so many computer related things to know the inner parts of our body on the monitor, isn't it? So computing plays an important role in biology also nowadays. So it has become a cross discipline. Okay, not only a particular computer science student is correlated with computing, but even the political science student is having a correlation with computing. How? The political science students, suppose if you take a history of political science, what are all the things happening inside India or around the world? If you want to take a list and compute the number of years of difference between each and every political science, Then you need web science, simulations, socio-technical systems. These are the important topics to be governed under computing for political science and for economics also. If you need to know the economy, what is the GDP growth of a country, and what will be the GDP growth for the next quarter year, half year, full year. Suppose if you want to calculate, that computing can be done with the help of social technical systems. How per head capita income has become has increased in our country, and on what basis, whether they are having any drought in our country, or if we are are we getting enough rain for a particular period of time. These are all matters for per capita income, so that it again it is connected with economics of a country. So computing is not a single subject, it is a subject or the technique which is used for every real world application. Without that, the whole world is not going to survive. See, art and design. So art, how computer interaction is done with the help of human beings. Reality, virtual reality is a topic which is dealt with nowadays, isn't it? Virtual reality, have you all heard of virtual reality showrooms that is present in metropolitan cities, where you can get in and you can view virtually, you can get into a world which is not present in the real time. That is, around you, that there will be goggles given, and that the goggle, through that goggle, if you see, it will take into a different world which is not present really. Okay, it is a virtual world. You can get into a virtual world where you can climb on mountains, you can climb on the high buildings, and you can drop anything from high buildings. These are all virtual things. You can swim into the deep sea, and you can see so many different kinds of fishes there. All these things were virtual reality. So each and every field is connected with computing nowadays. Okay. Now we shall have a quick recall of IoT and cloud computing, because these two things are the basic thing for edge computing. Okay. So IoT, you know, Internet of Things. Okay, what are the, when you say IoT, it is something dealing with sensor technology, isn't it? So sensor technology, with the help of sensors, you can do so many things. You can switch off the light, you can switch on the light, and you can use any form of security purposes in our house or home, or in offices, buildings, so many things. So connectivity is there. With the help of network protocols, the IoT sensors are connected, so that from one place to the other place, you can transfer the captive things. So what are the sensors that is captivating? Those sensor materials or the captions can be transferred from one place to another place, which is nowadays playing an important role for the detection of thieves and all. Day to day in your news channels, we can view even in a single channel, in a single day, we can see that one thief is getting caught by the help of the sensor cameras, isn't it? So it is helping us a lot. With the help of the cameras, you are transferring that camera footages from one place to another place, so that that person can be identified, they can be tracked. So IoT is performing well enough, and it is very useful for us nowadays. Next comes cloud computing platforms. Cloud computing, you know that the basic underlining of cloud computing is when you want, when an organization is having several branches across the world or across a city, they can transfer their data to the cloud, so that they can be accessed around the city from anywhere. So there is a data center present in cloud. Those data centers will be having these data given by the enterprises, and it is storing their data into that data center that can be accessed by faraway places also. Okay, this is the technology that is behind the cloud computing platform. Next comes machine learning analytics. Machine learning is nothing but if you have more number of data within a particular limit area, and if you want to search for one thing, one type of data, it has become a very tedious process nowadays, because a billion of data are present. For in that, if you want to search one type of data, that is going to be a difficult job, okay, and it is a time consuming job. For that only the machine learning analytics came into existence. Okay, then comes conversational AI. AI is something related with IoT. Artificial intelligence and IoT is having some interrelationships within them. So digital personal assistants, now you know that. Have you seen the films and all having Alexa, Cortana, and Siri and all? These are the personal assistants. They can do whatever you want them to do. It is already pre-programmed, is it not? You should register your voice in that, so that it will recognize who you are. Then according to your voice, it is performing some things what is already programmed. So have you seen the car, a person sitting inside a car, ask that car to turn left, turn right without any driver there? They can do so, and they can switch on the cell phones, and you can connect with the person, whatever person you want. You just spell that person, you can it will connect it for you. So these are the technologies that is present with the help of AI, artificial intelligence. Now getting into our topic, introduction to edge computing. So having heard of IoT, cloud computing and all, you should have known the basic things about IoT and cloud computing. The main reason for the flourishment of the cloud computing is you can access the data from anywhere around the world if you store your data in a data center. That is the main advantage of cloud computing. But that is also nowadays it has become some sort of drawback or disadvantage of cloud computing, because more number of data it is occupying in that data center means then retrieval of data from data center whenever it is needed is become less pronounced. That is, a latency problem was introduced, because more number of data is occupying one place means the data should be identified first to retrieve the data, and transferring of the data with the help of the interconnection of the internets, and then getting the data again wherever you want is becoming a tedious process for the network related connections. So that edge computing came into existence. Now we will see what is edge computing. Gartner, a famous scientist, defines edge computing as a part of a distributed computing topology in which information processing is located close to the edge. Already our principals have nicely pointed out the importance of edge computing. Okay, the needed data is to be present close to the place where data is produced or consumed. Okay, whenever you want to keep the data somewhere else securely, that person or that data center will be very far from your data. That is what happening in cloud computing. In very far places data centers are there, So your data is traveling to that very far place and it is being kept over there. So to retrieve that data again from that place is becoming a tedious process. Latency is rising over there to retrieve that data from that place. So to overcome this type of latency related, bandwidth related issues, edge computing was introduced nowadays. Edge computing is a networking philosophy. So that latency means the time required to retrieve the data and to get back the data. If the time is very high, then the latency is also high, so that poor performance will be there. The performance related network topology means the performance related means the time should be less. Within a less period of time, the data should be retrieved. If not, it will become a latency issue. In simpler terms, edge computing means running fewer processes in the cloud and moving those processes to local places. Okay, such as user's computer. In your computer itself, you can have your IoT device, which is very nearer to you. You can have your data there, or in your edge server. Edge server is a server which is present very near to you. Okay, so these are the forms of storing of data where the minimization of latency and bandwidth use can be provoked. See, nowadays there is a calculation, there is a survey saying that 7 billion tons of data are present inside the in the internet today. So it is increasingly becoming very hard for a particular person to retrieve data from the pool of data that is present inside the internet. At 2020, they have calculated that it has become to 7 billion tons of data, and at 2025 it is going to come to the level of 10 billion tons of data. So imagine the data is increasing day by day, minute by minute, the data is increasing in cloud. So there will come a time when the cloud will not be in a position to handle that data, and the overflowing of the data may occur, or the data, some of the data may be lost forever, and it will be very difficult for the persons to get back their data when they rely on the cloud. So what is how the problem can be devised or analyzed means, so the edge computing came into existence. Now, what is network edge? For internet devices, the network edge is where the device or the local network will be handling. So the local network is getting importance nowadays. So when you take a city, in a city level, edge servers will be computed, and the number of edge servers that is possible for a city will be computed, and it will be present in the city level itself. Now they are calculating for city level. In course of time, they may calculate for even a village level. Okay, because that type of data increase is happening day-to-day life. The servers cannot handle the data. If the servers cannot handle the data, again, it is going to be in a latency problem. So important takeaway is geographically close to the device. Okay, geographically close to the device, the data has to be present. That is edge computing. So this is a picture showing how data are produced and consumed by the help of different gadgets around the world. Okay. Okay, now again, how the edge computing is working. Okay, that topic we will see today. Edge computing is a network paradigm that focuses on placing processing as close That is what we have seen already. So edge server users, PC users are all responsible for delivering of data and consuming of data. So major purpose to reduce is to reduce latency. That is what we have seen already. And Gartner study to 2020 by 2025, 75% of data is consumed. Now, edge computing was introduced. Edge gateway. There is a thing called as edge gateway. We will see that in the next diagram. It can process data from the edge device to the networks. So how the data is consumed from the edge device to the network and vice versa. These are all performing in the real-time applications. Okay, with the help of IoT sensor, see employees notebook computer. These are the areas where data is produced. A notebook computer, latest smartphone, security camera, even the internet connected microwave ovens. Okay, microwave ovens are all connected with the sensors. So these are all the ways where edge gateways are needed. So wherever, suppose in your home, if you have more number of gadgets connected with the sensors, IoT and all, then there is a need for edge servers. In your house itself, you need to have a edge server to collect and process all these data together. So that is what the edge computing says. So wherever the data is produced in a larger form, you just have a server over there in that house itself, so that the server can be overcome. The rules and regulations can be formed for allowing the data or the consumption of data. All these things can be happening. Okay, that is what seems where the data originates. Okay, data collected at the edge falls into roughly 3 types. Suppose if you have more gadgets in your house, you will have edge servers in your house. So the data collected is categorized into 3 forms. One form is it needs no further action and does not need to be stored. Suppose if the data is very negligible amount of importance is there for a particular data means, then there is no need to store that data at all. Just pick up the data and you categorize the data. If the data is not needed, you just throw it away. What is the need for storing the data unnecessarily? So that is the first point. Second point is it should be retained for later analysis or record keeping. If the data is important and you consider that data as a very important data, it should be retained. Then those kind of data can be stored. Third is it requires an immediate response. So this data, as we have seen that sensor cameras and all, which is helpful for collecting information about the terrorists or the thieves and all, then those kind of data is very, very important and it needs immediate response. That data has to be transferred from one place to the another place. So those data should be transferred and it should be stored in some other place or some other servers for a very long time. So these 3 kinds of data types was recognized and accordingly the actions was taken. Okay, now we shall consider what is the importance of outlier data appears. In outlier data, in data mining, you would have come across this word outlier data. The data which is not needed for any purpose, those data are all called as outlier data. So if the data is considered as outlier data, then just throw it away. That is the only solution for minimizing the number of data and the number of latencies. Edge computing can provide a near real-time response to local events thanks to physical proximity. So physical proximity is very, very important. If you have a more number of gadgets, you should have edge servers in your workplace itself or home itself. So this is a diagram showing how edge computing works. Okay. Edge computing allows data from Internet of Things devices to be analyzed at the edge of the network. So this is a diagram showing, see, local processor is there where only the important data, that is the, just now we have seen 3 types of data, isn't it? So list the data collected into that 3 types, and accordingly you should take decision whether to throw the data outside, whether to store it for future purpose, or to immediately the data has to be transferred to the higher officials or higher data centers. So you need to take 3 decisions based upon the data you are capturing. So corporate data center is there and cloud is there. So corporate data center is producing more number of data, and the data are stored in the cloud. But the cloud, when it is contacting with the edge computing, edge is having a gateway for it. Okay, all data cannot be stored in edge. Only the required data, or the data that is consumed, consuming less space, or the data that is accessed in a fewer moments, are stored in the edge local processing. And the Internet of Things is also producing more data. Those data is also based on the 3 categories. The local processor will be storing that data, will be processing that data. Okay. Now, consider a building secured with dozens of high definition IoT video cameras. Okay, VOT, high definition cameras are there. So dumb cameras that simply output a raw video signal will be having, see, already what is happening in the cloud means all the IoT cameras, video cameras, whatever it is capturing, it will be storing, it will be transferring all the data to the cloud. That is what happening nowadays. Okay, so the cloud server will, what will do, it will do it will get the videos output from all the cameras, and it will detect the motion detection application, and it will store only the motions that is present inside the cameras. So whatever it is that is replacing from one place to another place, moving from one place to another place, only these type of motions will be taken from the data, and then it will be stored in the cloud. Okay, only the movement will be stored in the cloud. This means that as constant or significant strain on the building's internet infrastructure is bandwidth gets consumed. Okay, unknowingly the bandwidth is getting consumed because of only, suppose if a person is walking from one place, one edge of the room to the next edge of the room, then also the camera is there, it is capturing the person's movement. These type of movements is also transferred to the cloud, which is not necessary, isn't it? One person is moving from one area to another area, then that is not important. Suppose if the person is authorized person, that is not important. If the person is not an authorized person, if he is an outsider, then we can take into account that is an important moment. So this type of segregation should be there. Who are all authorized to come into that building or come into that place, then those moments can be minimized, because all moments, when it is transferred to the cloud, it is having a large headache over there in the cloud. Now imagine that motion sensor computation is moved to the network edge. Now introducing edge network, edge computing into that manner means, if each camera used its own internal computer, each and every camera is having its own storing purposes to run the motion detecting application, sent footage to the cloud server as needed. This would result in a significant reduction in bandwidth usage. So what is happening here in the edge computing is, each and every motion camera is having their own built-in processors to detect the motions. So what is happening? The motions is detected, and the important motions that has to be analyzed only will be sent to the cloud. Okay, not the irrelevant motions and all. Irrelevant motions and all will be left off. Only the relevant motions will be sent to the cloud for further processing. So after transferring all the data to the cloud will be deciding the motion detection and all. And after detecting the motions, the rest of the data will be thrown away from the cloud. So instead of doing so, edge computing is having internal computer, or the processor is present in each and every cameras, so that they can do the things done by the cloud there itself, and to minimize the bandwidth as well as the latency. It can be a very useful application. So that is what the edge computing means. So this is a picture showing customers and connected devices. See, from home, you can produce some data. From healthcare related hospitals and all, they produce some data. Self-driving cars, then common people. So video gamers. So these are all the places where data are produced. Now here, traditional data center. Traditional data center means internet, where the data will be stored. All the data that is collected is directly going into the internet and it is stored there. So instead of doing so, because the internet is overcoming with data, it is going to be a place where now you can come across some WhatsApp issues and all. Last week or last month, they have come across some WhatsApp issues, isn't it? In future, and every now and then you can come across those type of issues, because data are overflowing. They don't know how to handle that type of data. So one of the thing is edge computing. So edge computing is minimizing the data in that particular area itself. So this is the place where the computers are storing the data within themselves without giving the data, all the data that is collecting to the internet. So to summarize, early computing was considered as centralized applications only running on the isolated computer. Early computing means there is no connection between one computer to the another computer, so the computers are isolated. Personal computing then comes into existence. Personal computing, decentralized applications running locally within the same computer. So many applications are able to run, but it is decentralized. Okay, there is no connection between one computer to another computer. Here again, in personal computing. Cloud computing means centralized applications running in data centers. Edge computing means centralized applications running close to users. That is the only difference. Cloud computing is keeping data far away. Edge computing is keeping data close to the users, either on the device itself or on the network edge. Now, use cases of edge computing. Edge computing can be incorporated into a variety of applications. It will be very, very real-time oriented things when you come across the IoT, cloud computing, edge computing and all. So system security and monitoring, that is the example we have described above. IoT devices, self-driving cars, more efficient catching. See, catching means in this, what is the meaning here? Catching, catchy. It is a temporary usage of memory. Okay. CDN. CDN is content delivery network. Refers to geographically distributed group of servers. Is it not? So many servers are there around the world to help the internet work. To help the internet work, so many servers are there around the world, isn't it? Which work together to provide fast delivery. Without that servers, internet cannot run as fast as we are using nowadays. When you hit a button, when you touch a screen, you're getting so many things what you want to do. In earlier days, when the internet was invented, when you hit a button or touch a screen and all, it will take a long time, at least 4 or 5 minutes. It will be revolving, and then only you can see something else on your screen. So that type of latency is replaced nowadays with the help of CDN. Medical monitoring devices are all use cases of edge computing. Video conferencing. For the video conferencing, bandwidth is very, very important. Now also we are having webinars. So webinars is having a large type of bandwidth as the number of users are moving or higher. Real life applications of edge computing. So already we have used so many things: edge computing, autonomous mining equipment. So edge computing nowadays, they have used that in China, so many mines are there. Okay, so each and every mine is technologically, they are improving each and every mine to reduce the number of deaths each year. Every year in China, 10,000 or 20,000 deaths are happening with the help of the mining equipment, mining things only. So mining equipment has to react fastly so that it should be present near the mine itself. When the mine is there, the equipment should be nearer to the mine so that it can collect the data fastly and they can be delivered as quick as it can, so that the help for the miners can be given quickly. So this is a very real-time oriented help that is given by the edge computing for miners. So sensors, smart devices, mobile users and all proliferating across all industries. All industries are using this type of things. So an example is data center or public cloud for processing will be helpful for low latency. Then manufacturing area. In manufacturing area also, if you take a manufacturing company where some machines are manufactured, they will have a large number of units and all processed with cameras. In those areas also, if edge computing is used, the camera capturing the incidents happening inside the company may be very, very useful for that manufacturer as well. So in the farming, in the agricultural farming also, edge computing nowadays. In Japan, so many technologies was used, and farming is becoming increasingly technological oriented in Japan fields. They have very less number of field area to be farmed. So they are using some technological ways to come across this farming technologies. Consider a business that grows crops indoors. So indoors means mainly, you can give example for Japan, without sunlight, soil or pesticides. That type of situations can be handled very well with the help of this edge computing. Data is collected, analyzed to find the effects of environmental factors. So environmental factors and all can be collected, and it is monitored then and there itself, when the heavy rain will be there, when it will be drought. All these conditions can be helpful for farmers. Network optimization. So optimization means minimal usage of the networks and also maximize the performance. Optimization means when you want to travel a data from one place to another place without any latency, without any drop in the number of packets, without any security issues. If the data are transferred from one place to another place, then it becomes network optimization. That is also can be monitored with the help of edge computing by measuring the performance across the internet. Okay. Nowadays, so many internet-related traffic jams are happening with the help of data. So edge computing is used to steer the traffic, to slow down the traffic that is happening uh, inside the internet. Edge computing is applied. Workplace safety. So workplace safety in the help of business oversee workplace conditions to ensure employees follow established safety protocols. So safety protocols, if the employee, even now we are in the epidemic world. So when you come across these type of epidemics, suppose if you want to wear that mask around your face, then the person who is not wearing the mask can be analyzed, and the safety measures can be pushed upon them with the help of these safety protocols. See, established safety protocols for a company. So not only for the epidemics, for even a manufacturing unit, you need to establish some safety protocols. So those safety protocols, if it is not obeyed by the employees, they can be captured and they can be revealed. Then healthcare. Healthcare is becoming more computer oriented. So computer, wherever the computers are necessary for healthcare, edge computing will be very, very helpful, because healthcare is the place where immediate response should be there. Whatever data they need, the data has to be produced and data has to be consumed then and there within the time limit given. So those things can be helpful if edge computing is applied in healthcare related things. In transportation, okay, in transportation also, in location, speed and vehicle condition, road condition, traffic conditions can be captured and they can be revealed to the owners or the governments with the help of edge computing. So benefits. Only two benefits keeping in mind edge computing was framed. First is cost saving. Cost saving is related to the two things again, latency and bandwidth. If the latency is low and bandwidth is consumed less, automatically cost saving will be there. The performance means performance will be highly appreciated with the help of this edge computing. Suppose in the same office, chatting over IM platform is there within two employees or within the two communication levels. So those type of chattings can be given without any latency to the higher officials. So when users, all kinds of web applications run into processes that have to communicate with the external server. So whatever things you want to do with the external server, you can be minimizing that data workload to the server by placing those data in your place itself. Decreased latency, decrease in bandwidth use and associated cost. Decrease in server resources and associated cost, added functionality will be there. So now edge computing is in the preliminary stage. So the fast useness of edge computing is not yet reached. Okay, it is in the emerging stage. So after the application of edge computing, we will come across some drawbacks. For each and every technology that is introduced in the world, computer science world, it will have its own pros and cons. So also edge computing will also have pros and cons. So the drawbacks of edge computing will be the attack vectors. Suppose if the data, as said by the edge computing, data has to be stored nearby places. Okay, that nearby places is attacked by the attackers. The data related to your house or data related to your healthcare can be attacked and it can be stolen away. So it is a form of drawback there. Okay, with the addition of more smart devices, edge servers and IoT servers that have robust built-in computers, there are new opportunities for malicious attackers. Okay, malicious attackers may attack edge servers or IoT devices in combine so that they can get their data steal. So this is the main drawback of the edge computing. Another one is more local hardware is necessary. You have to concentrate on more number of edge servers to store the data. So hardware is necessary for storing apart from the web servers. So these two are considered as the drawbacks of edge computing. From a security standpoint, again, data will be, suppose if the security is breached and the data are stolen away, then there will be a big headache for the IT departments as well as the machines or homes, wherever IoT is responsible. Okay. Differing device requirements for processing power, electricity, and network connectivity can have an impact on the reliability of an edge servers. So edge servers should be very well prompt in their actions. They should be given with processing power, high processing power, continuous electrical supply, network connectivity, the internet connectivity, they should be there for edge servers. So these are all the things which is need to be concentrated when you use edge server. So this is considered as a drawback. In conclusion, so the rising influx of rich data in the various areas is inspiring. Okay, is inspiring, but we are all using our smartphones. All the things which is needed can be done with the help of a smartphone in your hand itself. By sitting at home, you can very well organize a seminar, you can very well organize a webinar. All these things can be done with the help of a smartphone in your hand, but the ultimate result is more number of data need to be correlated, handled by the internet. So how to handle those type of data is becoming a big question mark, wherein we have edge computing as one of the technique to lower the minimization, lower the latency and bandwidth. So the strategic mechanism are getting substantial attention from governments and private investors. Okay, private company owners and even some of the governments are concentrating on having this edge computing in their government offices also, so that to maintain the latency in a lower level. Okay, so mainly the things were concentrated on video processing, AR and VR, audio recorder and video recorder, emergency services in healthcare sectors to prevent act of terrorism in industrial area, etc. These are the main areas where edge computing is becoming increasingly popular nowadays, apart from governments and private investors. Thank you for listening to my speech. Shall we have a query session?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Dear participant, any queries you can ask by unmute yourself. You can ask queries to the madam by unmuting your mic.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Any queries from the audience?
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, can anybody tell me your feedback about the edge computing webinar? Okay.
Any questions you can ask students and other staff members also.
Thank you. Somebody is saying very thanks, very helpful. Thank you. Okay. Okay, if there are no queries, we can wind up, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I think everyone is satisfied with our presentation. So, dear audience, the feedback link will be sent through WhatsApp group. I kindly request all the participants to fill the feedback form. Okay. So, thank you, madam. Thank you. Today your presentation is it was very wonderful. Definitely, this webinar is enlightening us with your knowledge. It gave deep insight into the topic and also revealed some interesting facts. Definitely, our students is benefited with your presentation. Thank you, ma'am. And also, I thanks our college correspondent, our principal and head of the department, and all other faculty members and also students for your kind support and participating in this webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you all. Thank you very much.
Yes. Somebody raised a hand.